having these multiple roles, being a musician, being a painter, then being a gallery owner, now being all of them, what do you think was the hardest part all these years for you?
Really trying to get people to commit to an art gallery as far as purchasing work and getting a collector's base. That's harder. It's always a good thing is to inspire each other by conversation. It might spark an idea, to do something here, do something there. Some of the work that I show, might inform my own work, and try to push me further and further to get better, as an artist. You want to make sure that you have really good exhibits and that's very consistent. You want to make sure that people continue supporting you. I reach out to the community. I help support the art community here in Philadelphia and in this area. They turn back and they know they help support me too.
Hi, James. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, where you're joining us from for everyone who's joining and listening to this episode?
Yes, I'm an artist. I'm from Philadelphia and I have an art gallery as well. So I'm a working artist that has an art gallery called James Oliver Gallery, or JOG, here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, you've been doing this for over 17 years.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, now we have a bigger space. We moved from the fourth floor in my building to the second floor, and it has a much bigger space, and it has a chance, we have a chance now to spread our wings a little bit more, so to speak, and show more work in the space.
You started your gallery. Being an artist, you're not only an artist, you're also a musician, an artist, a gallery owner, a lot of these creative roles. And you started your gallery 17 years ago, um, alongside being a painter. And before that, you also had a career. And you still continue, I think, around your own passion of music as well. Um, how has these roles over the years developed for you? Like, can you take us through your journey of how it started, all of it started for you?
Yeah, well, when I was a little boy, I did some painting, and I won a couple little contests, but that was a backstory. But I really enjoyed as a child and growing up to being an adult and all that. I enjoyed music and acting and such, and through the years, I did music for a while. I studied music in college, and voice performance, and I ended up being a songwriter in Austin, Texas. And that's how I developed my skills as a songwriter. And then over the years, I was doing that, and then I was also painting on the side. And I had some success over the years with my music, but I started painting a lot, and then the pain took over. So then I started painting, and I had some early success as a painter. And then I started my art gallery, about 17 years ago. And some of my art was in a big movie, and it had some early collectors, and so that really encouraged me to move further with it and open a gallery, start featuring artists, primarily local artists at the beginning, and then we started showing more regional and national artists, and then we brought it in scope and also include some international artists at the gallery.
Wonderful, wonderful. Um, can you talk a little bit about your experience of, evolving from a role of being an artist to evolving a role from someone also being on the other side of the arts, being an art gallery owner, running a, how has, and that notion in in even today's time, it's not as common as much as we need more artists, taking ownership and creating more opportunities and galleries. But there is something always I feel different about artists who own galleries or other creative businesses. How do you think your experience of why did you start an art gallery first? Let's also speak about that. And then we'll also speak about how it's different.
Well, I started my gallery because, for one, I had a very big artist studio, and the studio was so big that my were saying, "Well, you should open an art gallery because you don't need, you probably don't need all this space." And I was like,
You don't need all the space.
yeah, it was a huge space, for my studio. So, and it was a beautiful space with beautiful windows and that kind of thing, and it's a good location. So I decided early on when I got the space that I'd open an art gallery. But in my experiences through my life, also, I started a festival when I was younger, and I was involved organizing in the a big festival, organizing things, working with a lot of people and volunteers and such. So for me to open a gallery was a uh, very much something that didn't intrude in my uh, confidence in having something open to the public. So I decided to have this art gallery, James Oliver Gallery.
How has your learning curve been ever since you started a gallery? How has your own relationship being an artist? How have you compartmentalized or just managed that?
Well, I started off with mainly working with having interns because I didn't really have as many resources at the beginning, and also had a paid assistant and such. But things have evolved, and as time had gone on, I was able to include better and better quality artists, over time. So that's part of the reason why I'm able to have my gallery have more of a presence in the art world, not just here in Philadelphia, but like in the region, including like New York City, DC. So people do recognize my art gallery throughout the world because of how I reach out to people and want to include works that fit in well with certain exhibits that I want to have. So that's how that evolved, and people spread the word and say, "Hey, that's a great gallery. It's a fun gallery, beautiful space. I want to show there." You know, so and that's how so that manifests itself, two or threefold.
Did you ever have any fears of your own while you were starting another business that it would take away the focus and the time energy from your own creative practice, being an artist, being a painter?
Yeah, I have another business too that helps bring in some income to help me sustain myself personally, and but it also help sustain the gallery in slower times. And I used to work in the food and beverage industry before that, and so everything I've done has helped support what I do for myself as an artist, and in conclusion, also for my space, for my art gallery. And so, with my businesses, they help support each other, and that's how we can move forward and stay in business.
And can you talk a little bit about your own creative practice, you as an artist? How does you being an artist inform you as also being an art gallery owner?
Yeah, as an artist, as a painter, I had early success, like I said, mentioned to you. And then what I do is I always try to challenge myself to get better and better as a painter. And I've always usually worked in like a larger scale. And sometimes, with some galleries that want to show my work, they want some smaller pieces too to help, you know, make it to where there's different price points. So I have some smaller pieces that I make sometimes too, but I usually work on a larger scale. And I feel that my work has gotten better and better, and I've got more attention from different galleries of my own work. And I get a lot of feedback from people that how much they like some certain pieces and so on, and so that also with some of the work that I show, might inform my own work, and try to push me further and further to get better, as an artist.
Yeah. Can you talk about a little bit about your own subject? How and what do you paint about? What inspires you? Um, your inspiration.
Yeah, my inspiration is like I like, for instance, I like a lot of Americana type subject matter. Like So I'm known for doing muscle cars, from the '60s and '70s American cars that are like really fast and such, and the design I like a lot. And also, before that, I used to do more abstract work that was more minimalist in nature. And the work that I do now that I just described, doing the muscle cars and the vintage motorcycles, are also minimalist in style and perspective. But as time has evolved, I've included more color in my work. Besides just doing my line work, I'm also known, when you see my work, you can recognize that it's mine by my line work and my not just in my drawings, but the initial drawing, but the way I paint my drawing, my paintings, they people know my work.
How does the sense of your own work and the work that you're showing, how did you even navigate being an art gallery owner? It is one thing when we make, our own work, looking at our own inspiration, and suddenly, then there's this whole white canvas when you are showing other people's work, and also it's like developing a style and voice even as an art gallery owner. What does James Oliver Gallery stand about, and how did you navigate that?
Well, it's just that, what I do is, like, I see a work that I really love and it feels like it fits my gallery. I get inspired by that, and and I get excited about it. My staff gets excited about it. So then we decide to select artists that will show here, but like for certain shows, sometimes we have solo shows, sometimes we have two-person shows, maybe a five-person show, four-person show, whatever. Sometimes we have big group shows pertain more to not necessarily a subject matter, but like a movement or a certain. Like I featured, to be honest with you, and you might already know this as well, but I'm one of the first galleries in the Northeast that showed a lot of women artists. I'm known for that. You may have heard about. So I show pretty much, I'd say probably 60% female artists, women artists, and about 40% male. I don't know what the percentage is, to be honest with you, but I show a lot of female artists, and I base that off the work. Really, it just so happens most of the work that we like here in my gallery, James Oliver Gallery, is female artists. So that's the way it's worked out. And we've had some, like, to celebrate that early on, we had some deliberately had like group shows of like 17, 18 female artists showing together, and that's it. And one was one was called Femme, one was called what was that, International? Oh gosh, what was that called? Can't remember the exact name of the show at the moment, but help me out here, Lee. Um, anyway, I've had group shows where I've had two galleries showing just female artists.
Amazing. Um,
Yeah,
what do you think was what or doing all of these roles
Summer
in
Rush. One was called Summer Rush.
summer? Okay. Um, being having these multiple roles, being a musician, being a painter, then being a gallery owner, now being all of them. What do you think was the hardest part all these years for you? The most difficult thing?
The most difficult thing is, probably the pandemic. But anyway, uh, that was hard.
And why so?
A lot of galleries were closing.
Business
Yeah,
wise.
yeah. And then we hung in there somehow. And we opened as early as we could during the pandemic, and we could allow only a certain amount of people per show. I mean, per opening at one time, it was like 25 people. But I have a big gallery. There's a big space, so having 25 people even during the pandemic wasn't an issue. But so that was one of the big ones. It's just that allowing yourself the time to dedicate to the my main pursuits are visual art and my gallery. Music, not so much anymore, but it used to be, but not anymore. So it's just really just visual art, that keeps me going, that keeps me focused.
But what was your biggest struggle? We haven't spoken about that apart from the pandemic.
Well, biggest struggle is like really trying to get people to commit to an art gallery as far as purchasing work and getting a collector's base. That's harder for people sometimes with galleries. It can be hard. We don't have the support as much in like as some countries in Europe and such where they support the art so much. I don't get any government support. I got a little bit during the pandemic for my gallery, but other than that, it's just it's hard. We don't get that support from the government or public entities, so it's all up onto us and the community and my staff to really keep it going. So at times it gets a little bit lean, but we hang in there and we have certain shows that do really well sales wise, so that helps us continue.
Yeah, yeah. And what about how is it? How was it for you as an artist during the pandemic, if I may ask?
Well, it helped my work in a way because that gave me some. In the early time of the pandemic, nobody can work,
Yeah,
so it allowed me the freedom to really spend some time and not only think of what I wanted to do, but actually do the work. So
yeah.
I painted a lot during the early part of the pandemic. I painted like 4 or 5 paintings in a row,
Wow,
and so that felt good to do that.
nice.
You know,
Yeah,
and we know here in my gallery we get a lot of community support, and people love the gallery, and I get a lot of feedback from people to continue doing what we do. And it's just people I reach out to the community. I help support the art community here in Philadelphia and
Philadelphia.
in this area. They turn back and they help support me too.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a community effort.
Right.
Even though it's a commercial
Commercial business.
gallery. I
Yeah,
have a commercial gallery, but people do help support and want to make sure that we're as successful as possible.
yeah. How does a day for you look like now? How do you compartmentalize your time as a painter and then being a business owner? Your studio is still where the gallery is?
Yeah, the gallery is the most important thing for me because it's something I made a commitment to do, and it's like I said, it's a commitment to the gallery and to the city and my staff. And at the same time, I do find pockets of time to paint, so I do paint regularly. And then like I said, I have another business too that keeps me busy. So and you have to allow yourself some downtime too. So it's a juggling act. It's a juggling act, but it's a good juggling act.
No, absolutely. I think it keeps you on your toes, but also at the end of the day, you get to be a creative in different aspects, and it still elevates you, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you can probably tell from my tone.
Yeah. And what about, okay, tell me something. Tell me, how have what were the things that you and a lot of times, like, I remember, so I opened my gallery for the first time. Pretty much similarly, as you. I was born and brought up in a small town here in India, and I'm an artist, and I had a big studio, and I thought, why not use this space because I had it. And I also I had lost my mother, and I really wanted to do something like, she, so like just to memorize that day and all of that. Now I'm moving back to the main city since I've also spending more time, and we're moving the location and everything, and I've taken a halt. But I did realize that it was such an overwhelming experience in the first place itself. And I've been running a business for I've been running several different business for all these 10 years. So it's not that I'm not familiar with the business side of the world or everything, but it just, sometimes you you understand, okay, what you were thinking versus what it turns out to be. Um, what was your early days of experience of running this gallery, and then navigating your own career as an artist both? What did you expect, and what you thought, and what it felt like or turned out to be?
Oh, I tell you, I went into it thinking that I would try it out for like 2 or 3 years and see how it goes. And then, I continued doing it. I'm like, oh, might as well continue doing it. Then, and then you find more artists and you get excited, and it just keeps your head in the game. And you can, my I have a really good landlord, so the landlord keep my rent, stable rent. So that helps a lot too, from the business side of it. But it's just like I said, it's like you try to get better as an artist. You communicate with people, you hear their stories. There's all kinds of things that, can motivate you. I try to also stay on top of the news a bit. I like sports too, so that helps alleviate some tension or pressure. So I try to find different things that help, not just motivate me, but to calm me down and not get anxiety.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to be a gallery
Yeah, and I think in this
owner.
business you have to it does bring a lot of stress, and you have to find out ways to make sure you're monitoring your stress as well. But tell me something, you also spoke about sales. Sales as a struggle in any kind of business. A lot of limiting mindsets and a lot of artists do struggle with just selling their own work. I think that is, we all know, that is one of the star question, the black sheep, and all of those things. But when you sign up as an artist, I think just trying to separate these two things in the sense of, if there's a regular person who's who are who may personally not have had an experience in the creative field as such, opening a gallery could be a very different take. I was speaking to someone the other day, and we all have different opinions, and the opinion came from that, as artists shouldn't be representing themselves, and there are all different kinds of opinions that you can focus on your work and you can let someone else do the part of selling. But once you're also responsible for your own sales and doing all of that, and then opening up a gallery and taking the burden on your shoulder of bringing sales for other artists, that's like adding another layer to your life. How was that, and how did you figure out this? Because if you like, it's the hard part, not only for you as an artist, but as a business itself.
Yeah, like I say, you're juggling things. You're like, selling my own artwork can be a bit of a struggle. So I do have an art dealer that represents me, and he helps sell my work. There's also another gallery here in Philadelphia that helps sell my work. They're called Paradigm Gallery. They're a great gallery. Actually, we have a very good working relationship together. We do collaborations together, and one of the owners actually is my photographer for who shoot he Jason Chen shoots. I pay him to shoot my artwork so I can get it out there, commercially, and the best representation of my work. And so I there's that. I mean, it's hard to sell your own work with, especially being a gallery owner to a certain extent, because I'm always promoting everybody else's work, and I know that's my role. That's my role. So, and my staff's role, my staff and myself, and they encourage me too. They like my artwork. My staff likes my artwork, so that helps too. So it's, but my main objective is to sell other people's work. I don't mind talking about my own work, and I do have my work featured in my gallery. I have a new space now, so it has two exhibition spaces, not just the gallery, but I also have an art boutique. So in the art boutique, I show two or three pieces of going at the same time, you know? So I have a very big space. So I'm very lucky.
How is the art boutique different from the gallery?
I get to paint. I paint in my gallery too, so that helps me. I don't need much space to paint, so um, I take out the colors that I want. I have I work in acrylic on canvas, and I just really enjoy. And also, when I paint in my gallery, it sparks a conversation with people when they come in the gallery. They go, "Oh, what's going on?" So it keeps it exciting for them to see an artist painting in an art gallery. You don't see that too often either,
No.
actually.
But do you bring other artists? Do other people join you?
No, I just paint myself.
But that could be a
you know,
party too.
that's good. Yeah, yeah. And I have a space too where I have well, people can gather. I have a big kitchen, and it has a lot of artwork in the kitchen, and like knickknacks, so they call like different little uh, stuff and shelves, and very interesting looking. I don't know if you can see behind me, but I have some interesting stuff behind me. That's just part. There's a lot. There's a lot more than that, but it keeps people like you can entertain a little bit too. You can enter. Yeah, it's just partly to having a gallery too is a lifestyle, entertain a little bit, have conversations with other artists, get inspire each other. You know,
Yeah, right, right.
it's always a good thing is to inspire each other by conversation. It might spark an idea, to do something here, do something there.
Now, how do you look for new artists for your work, let's say? What does that look like for you?
Well, I tell you what, first of all, the artwork has to be contemporary for one. Two, the work has to be, the way I look at it, it has to be timeless, where it can stand the test of time. Because, people will be purchasing the work and some of it's expensive, some of it's not so expensive, but, for anybody, they want to like it and they want to like it for a long time. So timeless, I look for quality of the work. You know, that's something. We show works of all media, anywhere from a lot of paintings, but we do photography, sculpture, mixed media, installation work. So we fill a gamut of things, and that it keeps it interesting and exciting.
Right, right. No, that is very interesting. What is on the list of your goals for 2024 now? Both for you personally and professionally.
Well, one, more sales, of course.
Yeah.
Two, to keep them promoting and more and more the artists that we show and supporting them as any way that we can, increasing our social media presence. Also, that's always a thing with art galleries. You always want to do that. You want to expand your audience. You know, you want to get the word out there about what you're about and be very clear about that, and you want to make sure that people continue supporting you. That's very important. So with that, you want to make sure that you have really good exhibits and that's very consistent, consistently good. And you don't want to, like, with a gallery too, you don't want to put too much pressure on yourself and like push it too hard. You don't. It has to come with a gallery. It has to come like more natural and very small increments. You know, you don't want to go like this, like high. You want to make it slowly grow, slowly grow, slowly grow, more and more and more and
And
more like
take
that.
that growth. Yeah,
You know.
yeah. Slow and steady wins the race.
It's a good road. That's the road I recommend. I mean, people want to hear it. Sometimes they don't want to hear it, but that's that's what I've helped me in the past with things, and and I felt like that was a natural way, and the way it's going now is seems to be very natural too. So I try to stay with that, keep it steady.
No, no, you're doing the next, and I absolutely love the space because I've not seen it in person, of course, but I've seen it through the shows and the images, and I love the old vintage windows, the lot style, and like how airy and beautiful it looks. I think it's truly an inspiring space.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate that, and well, I would like to say that it was really a pleasure talking to you tonight, and thank you for reaching out to me. And I'm hoping we just spread the very good word about good artwork and good galleries in a good city.
Yes, 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 for sure, for sure. I think we have a lot of listeners based out of Philly.
And to keep supporting good women artists because women artists tend to be the best.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Oliver. Thank you.
All right, my pleasure.